All right, second down. Let's get into the COVID-19 updates for all of the major sports leagues. So NBA set to resume July 31st, at the end of this month, at Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. It's not looking good for them either. But there is a positive note. So, according to Jeff Zinglet from USA Today, just two NBA players out of 322 have tested positive for COVID-19 during quarantine inside the bubble like environment at Disney in Central Florida, the league announced Monday. But there is still some concerns that I stated in previous weeks. Premier League, even though they're overseas, have been doing great with their testing. It has been our soccer league in the U.S. has not had that same type of success. So there is a concern that U.S. Obviously we lead the world in positive cases for coronavirus. So we're at higher risk, especially these sports leagues. So in this article, they also stated that the Major League Soccer has struggled to contain the virus with two teams. So the football club Dallas and Nashville Soccer Club having to withdraw from MLS and is back tournament. Oh, so they had to withdraw from the MLS's back tournament because of the number of positive tests. So they haven't had a chance to circle around this COVID and pretty much isolate players from each other like the Premier League has done. And that is not a good sign for any of the U.S. sports teams looking to resume play. So that's not a good sign. And then also one of the stars of the NBA, so Houston's Russell Westbrook, announced on Wednesday that he tested positive for COVID-19 before the team left for Orlando, and said he will rejoin the team once he has received medical clearance. So how could we call a champion if your top players for competitive teams are not going to be playing? Not that I'm saying Houston was going to win anyways, but this still, there's still an effect on star players not playing, deciding not to play, all the teams not being in the resuming of the season. It's just hard to say that the champion of this season is going to be a real champion, at least in my eyes. So it is what it is. Premier League, so update for Premier League, keep it quick. So this latest round of testing for the Premier League from July 6th to July 12th, the league tested 2,071 players and staff members with only one positive case. I'm telling you, Premier League, they got it down to a T. I mean, nothing more than 2 cases any week. And they're testing over 2,000 players. So the NBA tested 2 players in the bubble during quarantine out of 322. And Premier League tested over 2,000 and still had less positive cases. That should let you know how Premier League is doing it. They're running it well. NBA doesn't look good for the NBA, especially being in Florida where they're one of the highest, top 3 for sure, in the U.S. with positive cases. I think they said if Florida was a country, they would be top 5 in the whole world. So I'm sure Arizona's up there too, unfortunately. So NFL update. So the NFL actually reveals an Oakley face mask or face shield intended to enhance COVID-19 safety. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this. Hopefully I'll put for those of you who are watching on YouTube, I'll actually put a picture right here so you can see what it looks like. And for those of you that are listening, go ahead and Google this, the NFL Oakley face shield. It's terrible. It's terrible. It doesn't make any sense. There's holes in the bottom where the mouth, is supposed to be. So if you think about a visor, the visor goes in front of the eyes. The face shield essentially just extends all the way down the face mask to cover up the mouth. But there's holes where the mouth is at. And it's not even like mesh or any type of fabric covering those holes. They're just regular holes. So it's not really helping anything. If anything, it's worse for the players because it's going, if you're breathing out and breathing in, like first of all, it's hot. So when you're breathing out and there's something blocking the air, at least some of it, it's going to fog up everything in front of you on the visor. And then it's going to be hard to breathe because it's right in front of your mouth. So it's gonna definitely affect breathing. I'm not a big fan of it, especially for the design. Just doesn't make any sense. I don't see how it's going to enhance safety. If you've seen somebody walking around with one of these helmets and masks in like the grocery store instead of a full blown like mask that people wear right now, people would rather see you wear a mask. That's just how it is. But it's not possible to wear a mask in the NFL like that, because you're constantly running, you're breathing, you got to have all access to that oxygen that's around you, because you're running, man. It's hard. It's a tough sport to play, and to have anything restricting your breathing is absolutely insane. So JJ Watt actually commented on this. So according to JJ Watt, so he said, my second year in the league, I thought it would be cool. And he's talking about, he thought it'd be cool wearing a mask or a visor. So I put a visor on my helmet. I was like, it looks so cool. I want to put a visor on. I had it on for about 3 periods of practice and said, take that sucker off. I'm going to die out here. Just the face one. So he's basically saying that it's harder to breathe, especially in Houston. I mean, I'm sure it's freaking humid out there, so they already have enough to go against with the humid weather. But JJ Watt's already saying, hey, this, just the visor sucks having on a visor. It does look cool though. And he also added that, so now that you want to put something around my mouth? No, you can keep that. If it comes into play, I don't think you're going to see me out there playing on the field. So he's saying if it's required to wear that face shield, he's not playing. And I don't blame him. I don't think any NFL player should be playing with that face shield. All it does is restrict breathing and make it more miserable to have a helmet on. It sucks. I mean, it already sucks having a helmet on without a visor. But you put the visor on, and then you have the face shield, it's even worse. So the NFL also has no formal plan yet for COVID-19, which sucks. And they need to come up with that soon, because their league year is coming up. Like next month is supposed to be the start of the preseason. Now they canceled the first 2 weeks of preseason. They might as well just cancel the rest of the preseason. And I'm not overly optimistic on the regular season. So NFL waiting to hear their plan for COVID-19, but we haven't heard anything yet. And then the MLB, as we've done before. So 11 MLB umpires have opted out. So according to Danny Moore of the New York Post, so 11 MLB umpires are opting out of the 2020 season, according to the MLB Network. John Heyman, some have said to have family members who are ill. So some of them have ill family members. So like the players, umpires can opt out with full pay if they are determined to belong to a high-risk group due to pre-existing health conditions. Those who are in a high risk can opt out, but won't be paid. So I'm curious to see what is considered a pre-existing health condition according to the MLB. Now, we know what pre-existing health condition, it could be anything, but the MLB, I'm sure they have a specific list of pre-existing health conditions that will fulfill this definition to get that payout for these players and umpires. So umpires, I don't blame them. A lot of the umpires are old, and they got to worry about themselves. They got to worry about their family. So I can't fault them for opting out. And with this, so let's go all the way back to NCAA, NBA, Premier League, NFL, MLB. There is a consistent worry, and I've talked about this in a previous podcast about COVID testing. There's still people out there that have no access to these tests in the U.S. and they should be free for everyone to take, whether you have health insurance or not, because we need to make sure that we're identifying and tracking who has it. But there's still people out there that have no access to the COVID testing. And as these leagues try to come back and resume play, all they're doing is now using a lot more tests and taking it away from people that actually need it. So these sports leagues are doing it based on, a want. But there's people out there that actually need to get tested, and they don't have they don't have an opportunity to get tested, especially with all these leagues looking to come back and who are already testing players, out the, above and beyond. So according to USA Today, they state that the United States is seeing more than 50,000 new cases of COVID-19 a day. Major commercial labs are struggling to keep up with high demand, causing delays in turnaround times, and experts wonder if the return of sports could burden an increasing fragile testing infrastructure. So one person has stated that that's been a big concern for me as I've been seeing different leagues and their plans for reopening. And this person is an infectious disease specialist and epidemiologist at New York University and Bellevue Hospital. So that is one of those things where we need to take that into account too. Nobody is talking about that. Although we do want sports, and I can't fault people for wanting sports. We all have to worry about it's more than just sports right now, right? There's people out there that have no access to this testing, and we're using it just to have entertainment. We need people to get tested just so we know, and we could do that tracking, so people actually know. Because if people don't have access to testing, they're infected, they're infectious, they go out unknowingly and infect other people. Rather than if they were tested and told to stay home, they're likely going to stay home and quarantine. Again, if you have symptoms, then you potentially could be infected. But there are people out there that are asymptomatic that don't have symptoms that could still be infectious and go out there. So now you see the importance of testing everyone just to make sure. And there was a breakthrough in Arizona at ASU's biology center where they actually are pretty much doing away with the swab tests through the nose. Now they just do it through the mouth, and it's not uncomfortable. I think it's right on the side of the cheek. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for more fire sports takes. And for those of you who are on the go, make sure you subscribe to our full show, which airs every Thursday on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a bunch more. Until then, I'm chucking it up, and I'll see you guys next time.